Well, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Nurhati Tangging, who is from the Philippines. She was a YSEALI fellow in our spring of 2019 cohort. As most of you know, YSEALI is the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. It is a program out of the US State leaders from ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, 10 countries in Southeast Asia. We always have great representatives from all of the ASEAN countries. I'm always so impressed with the Philippines. And Hati is a leader among leaders. She is a star among stars. And I just have to say, not only as a professor in the program, but also on a personal level, I really connected. She is a peace builder and a conflict resolution practitioner, and that is my area. So I am so interested to hear what Hati has to share with us today. Thank you. Laura, back over to you.
Thank you, Patrick. And I too am a humongous fan. I was able and lucky enough to meet Hati when she was in Omaha, and we've remained friends on Facebook, which I'm so grateful. And today is one of our monthly Nebraska World Affairs Council Zoom webinars, and we are so lucky, and we are hoping that the internet treats us very well from the Philippines, so we can hear all the wonderful topics we're discussing. So we have a range of topics we're going to be visiting with Nurhati about, and then the final half of the call will be a casual Q&A with you all. So please feel free during this whole process to type in chat any of your questions, and we'll facilitate that as well. But we want to leave much time at the end so Nurhati can answer questions directly. So thank you all again. Are you ready, Nurhati? Yes. Well, yes. The question we have is how are you and how is your family amidst all that's going on? Can you let us know how you're doing in the Philippines?
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. Thank you also, guys, for spending time with us tonight or today here. And I'm very grateful to be connected with you. Well, right now, I am personally, same with other people who are experiencing this pandemic, is somehow have a lot of worries as well. But despite of it, we remain calm and more courageous to do more. So as of now, I'm still engaged with and specifically peace building in my communities and my family. Since people are working from same with us, we are also I am also working from home, and so the my brothers are still inside the home because there's no education or no school here until having to survive this pandemic little by little, but we are with positive mindset.
I'm so glad to hear that you're doing okay. Can you let us know how your community, the islands, the Philippines, how is your country doing right now?
Actually, as of today, we just had 30,000 cases, and just in my community, we just have 6 positive case. For other countries, for other places, that's small, but for us in the southern area, it's already kind of worrying because it's a little by little increasing. But people and government here are managing the situation. And so, with this, I personally, we are doing a lot of things, and specifically me specifically continuing and peace building, because when the situation gets worse, people might have different mindset that could push them to be vulnerable, and that could make the situation. So as you can see, guys, we have shared here some photos of my community, personally me, linguistic from Sulu, Mindanao, and from Basilan, Mindanao. So technically, that's my culture. We are happy people, very, very native, local. I mean, Filipino. Um, yeah, doing great. Continue to living a life in this new normal.
Thank you, Nurhati. And I'll have Patrick with the next question.
I want to ask you about your peace building work, and maybe give a little bit of context for the conflict, and then a little bit about the reintegration and peace building work that you're doing now.
Yes. Thank you, Patrick. As of now, as I have shared some photos here and on the screen of recently the photo of Marawi siege just happened in 2017, and unfortunately up until now it's already 2007. It's not just because of some issues on recovering program, but also personally because we cannot erase the big war immediately, just overnight. It's a process. Also, bottom left, that's me wearing the red shirt with former combatants. I mean, that's one of the conversations I have here in the community. So presently, alhamdulillah, these people are still with us despite of the pandemic that could influence them to go back. And I mean, there's no assurance of those things. And up until now, we are keep on negotiating and keeping our promises and our commitments to be with them and to make them feel that we are here with them. Also, yeah, just some photos in the other islands. Unfortunately, though, we have some peace building here. I mean, not totally, but um, unfortunately, other group of people are still fighting for their own lives. Yes, that's true. Despite of this pandemic, there are still conflicts in some other areas of the country, and we are still um, pushing everyone to be vigilant. And at this time of crisis, we have to be wiser. Yes, Patrick, may I request you to go to the next slide? And so this is the program that I've been doing for almost 4 years from now. For almost 4 years. So we have the so-called that's before it's called Program Against Violent Extremism, or PIV, wherein we have four components. People who are extremism before have the opportunity to return. What do you mean when you say return? To return arms to the military and the government, and the government will give them chance to see what they can do to the communities. And that's when we start to reform them. Reform in terms of changing the mindset. I mean, we have series of psychosocial debriefing to them, giving them, empowering them, such as helping them going to school again, having the skills training, and starting like a small livelihood. And so we are starting as of now, we are under the integration process after 3 years. It's kind of somehow it's not it's a little by little process, but alhamdulillah, right now people are still with us. And every month we have new surrenderies. And thank you, Patrick. This is the keys that we have in our community and in our project. Specifically, good governance. That's number one. People will turn back if they are not being governed properly. Impact in the security. Peace building or peace builders will not be accomplished without the people who are very expert on peace building. One of them are the armed forces of the country. Like for us here in the Philippines, we have the armed forces of the Philippines, which I have always talked most of the time because we need to coordinate with them every now and then. And lastly is the education. Illiteracy or ignorance is one of the problems why people are engaged in violent extremism or in conflict, because if we do not have enough set of knowledge, you won't respect a specific group of people wherein you could have conflict or you could start the conflict. Yes, Patrick. May I request to go to the next? It's an honor for me to present to you guys what I've been doing for more than 3 years, for almost 4 years apparently. Photo is returnee. I mean, I am I am a young girl who is always talking with the former combatants. When we say former combatants, 100% of them are men. When we say men, these are the group of people who like combatants, like the usual warriors. So in the upper left of the photo, it's one of the former combatants who just received just 2 days ago the rice that we have given to them from the program and from other private and public partners. The middle one is the team building. That's a team building among them, and also team building with the partners such as the military. We have to make good friends with them. Second, we have the teachers who are teachers in the community. And the third photo, you can see houses. That's one of the benefits that we're giving to them, because people will make conflict if they feel unempowered, if they feel that they do not get what they deserve. That's the basic thing. The second photo, the second line from left, you can see I'm the woman in a yellow hijab. That's me, and that's a farm of one of the cooperatives of the returnees. I just visited recently. Just yesterday, I just went up in the mountain and visited them, and I'm very proud to say that as of now they just replanted more than 6,000 plants of string beans. Why string beans? I mean, string beans is just one of the vegetables that they're planting. Why? Because apparently in the island, people are, suffering with a limited resources, food, everything. So we have to make sustainable food, or sustainable resources, sustainable food for the entire island. So yeah, they have string beans, they have squash, just like Val, who are just is still planting at his backyard. People here are also, especially the returnees, are also planting. I mean, everyone is planting already. We have to do this. This is not just a trend, but this is a need for everyone to do. The second photo, yeah, that's another plant as well from the other communities. They are planting chili, or the hot for hot sauce, because in the communities, and that somehow, by culture, people love spices. So we have to make more. So we have a lot of buyers. And the last one, if you could see a man making a dress or sewing. I'm proud to say that we have, as of now, after they've graduated from skills or vocational courses, we need to empower them. That's one thing that we are doing. Just and activities we have to wear our mask. Everyone is in need here in the Philippines. And so our returnees are making masks for their fellow returnees. So we have two groups of returnees. I'm calling the former combatants returnees because they just returned. I'm sorry for the late clarification of the terms because they just turned. So we, in the locally we call them, we name them returnees. They just make 600 masks given to the community. So it's a very, very, very a big help for us to prevent the spread. The lastly is a photo. If you could see closer, he is very smiling because he's very happy receiving goods from receiving from the program. They alone, the former combatants alone, are making something already. I wasn't able to share with you the photos of them also repacking goods which they are also giving to the communities. So yeah, that's some of the things that we are doing right.
I'm so inspired by your work, Patty. Such great work, and thank you for sharing these photos and some of the stories. I want to take a step back and ask you about the politics and the from the news and from talking to you that right now there is an anti-terror bill that is being debated, and I'm wondering how the politics of that anti-terror bill might impact your peace-building work.
Yes. May I request you to go to the next slide? I'll be explaining some part.
This gets into the racial discrimination and the parallels. That's what you want? Okay, good.
Yes, that's right. Actually, the anti-terror bill we have. I mean, it's it's a new bill, giving power to the government or to the people who are who can just get the people who are somehow they say doing terrorist act is example, those people who are activists who are um criticizing the government. In the bill, people who are fighting the government can be termed terrorists. So that's very vulnerable. There are sections, specifically in section 9 in the bill, that whoever fight the government or whoever they can send to jail. I mean, without any deeper reason why they can be termed terrorists. Number one, why will this bill affect our peace building works here in Mindanao? Number one, the bill alone will affect personally and directly our returnees. Why? Our returnees are former combatants who are some of them have criminal record, and because of the program, we are still on the process of processing the details. I mean, they are not all of them. I mean, not all of them are guilty. So we have to undergo due process. And one thing that the bill could affect the program is they could get anyone who just returned. I mean, who are engaged with the program. So we need to avoid the conflict. And as of now, the program is already doing good. Actually, the province have zero record of kidnapping or any violent acts since 2016. It's a proof that upon assessment, the program has been doing great jobs on implementing. At the same time, the community is receiving the program very well. So we are planning and we are having foreseeing that the program could stay longer and could make zero violent extremism in the area. That's the goal of the program. If the bill will be passed, Filipino people could be named terrorists and could send to jail without any reason. That's one thing. That's why the Philippines is very noisy right now about the anti-terror bill. People from Luzon who are not very engaged with the terrorists act, they say in Mindanao, are still concerned. Why? Because they are not anymore allowed to criticize the government. which the Filipino were like practically been doing because we are living in a democratic country.
Hattie has frozen there. I'm sure she'll be right back. Laura, do you want to take over the questions at this point and give a little bit of context? Yeah.
Yes, and Hati has she has two other phones that she says that she can use as backup. So hopefully, I think she's gonna try to connect with a different phone. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Hello?
I don't
That's
know.
okay.
Did I lost? I think yes.
You're back. So I'm going to pass it over to Laura to continue the questions.
Yes, and it froze mid discussing how the anti-terror bill how against the government and them not wanting to be thrown in prison, correct? So we're going to go to the picture that you talk about. I'm going to ask you, we've discussed personally, but I think it's very important for everyone on the call and just our global connections to be talking about what's happening here in the US. And so could you let us know how you're feeling or what you're viewing with the Black Lives Matter movement that's happening here in the US? And yes. if you're seeing any response from the Philippines. We're seeing response from all over the world. Could you let us know?
Well, yeah, thank you. Actually, Black Lives Movement in the US are kind of concerning the people also from outside the United States of America. Why? Because the racial discrimination is somehow not anymore new to the community.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, thank you. Yes, because technically people who are not American are still and fighting with the racial discrimination in the US. I mean, also with the same sentiments. People who are not Americans are having movement. Specifically here in the Philippines, people are having voices and sending emails, having.
I'm grateful for the internet thus far. We've had many test runs with Nurhati and we had to cancel a few. So I'm glad you're all getting to hear her. And we're almost at the portion to really open it up for any questions. So Hati, can you hear us? It says you're connecting. Who's speaking? Raphael, is that?
Yeah, this is Raphael.
Yeah.
I'm also from the Philippines. But although my area is in how the government is being.
Raphael?
All right.
Yes, Philippine or Hadi, your question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes. Sir Rafael, yes, please correct me if I understand your question. How do we solve RIDO? Yes, by number one, organizing the community, inviting the people who have clans, and we come to the battalion. It's the number one who are also leading in reconnecting the people to reconcile but the armed forces of the Philippines. That's number one. Second, we have the local leaders who are called imam here in my community. They lead the dialogue together with the battalion commander specifically. Second, also we have the LGUs, the barangay captains. We settle it in their level first because there are family feud or rido who are existing for decades. I mean for more than decades already. So we talk with them. We go to the root of the conflict, and we are agreeing on a specific set of decisions. Take for example, by withdrawing or not anymore pursuing the case. That's one of the examples that we do to solve RIDO, and that's very important to maintain peace in the community, because the family are affecting each other, and we have to settle it at their level first
And
to get
Hati, could you let us all know what RIDO stands for? What RIDO means for those?
yes. Sorry. Yeah, Laura, thank you. Rido is a Maranao term in Mindanao. It's not actually original Tagalog term, but it's a Maranao term used to describe family conflict. It's a family feud, clan by clan conflict. So in my culture in Yakan, in Basilan, some of the violent extremism or the conflicts are rooted from Rido. It's somehow being our ancestors, and it's being transferred generation to generation. It's some of the young people who are engaged in it are already are innocents, yet they have they have the notion of like taking revenge. That's why it's not easily solved before.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Hope I have explained it better.
Yes, and we're getting some questions in, so please start typing in your questions. But just to close the conversation on how we were discussing prior, the racial discrimination that's in the Philippines. Can you let us?
Sorry?
Yes, the idea of the racial discrimination that is in the Philippines. Can you discuss that?
Yes. That's one of the issues that is specifically the Muslim are facing. There, to be very specific, the religion discrimination. I mean, me myself have experienced being discriminated just because I am wearing my hijab and because I am a Muslim. So people will discriminate people if they do not understand the background. So one way of us to to solve discrimination is to educate them, to why we wear hijab and why we are wearing this type of clothes, because this our religion, and this is how we are being raised by our family, and I mean, one way was I was motivated to do more and to equip myself. Number one, the difference of religion and the difference of the background is not a reason for the people to have conflict. Instead, it is the reason to unite, because the unity in diversity is very big help and has a very big impact for the successful of the group. Second, through YSEALI, I met people who are doing great job, specifically in peace building. I've met Patrick, I met Laura, I met other people from United who are visible, or you can make positive change if you are together, especially with the same people who are passionate doing great jobs. So I mean that help in our features and background.
Thank you for all that you've shared, Hati. You are, I'm so proud of the work that you're doing, and so happy to have been a part of your YSEALI journey here. And thank you for sharing with us today. Laura, do you want to open up to some of the questions now?
Absolutely. And I'm just so honored to know you. And for people that haven't been involved with the Omaha World Affairs Council that's now transitioning to be the Nebraska World Affairs Council, I was introduced to the World Affairs Council by attending the YSEALI cultural event. And my son was 2, and it is some of the best memories, and I've seen 3, I think. And it is, I can't wait till YSEALI can come back to Nebraska. And I've made so many great friends. So we have 2 questions. David Scott asks, and Nurhati, if you look in the chat, you can see in the chat as well, but I'll read it for everyone. Are any foreign missionaries still in the Philippines following COVID-19? And if so,
Yeah, and partnering in your efforts. Actually, there are a lot of people who are coming, who are in the Philippines doing great jobs to solve the pandemic. And to me, I mean, the question is, are they assisting me or partnering with the effort, specifically on peace building? Well, we have the foreign partners since last year, specifically the Australian Embassy, who are funding some of our activities, because I mean they are engaged with they are one of the international partners of our works. So yes, we have.
Laura, I'm not hearing you.
sorry. Oh, sorry, everyone. That was a mute issue. Hati, Michael's question on, did you take the Gallup strength finding workshop, and how did that help you become a better leader? And Val is watching too, so.
Yes, Adam, actually Gallup is one of the best experience I have in my YSEALI experience. I mean, the 1 day session seems like I've read a book of the Gallup just for that day. I mean, thank you, Val, also for the book that you gave me. Thank you so much for that. And to answer the question of Adam, actually, Gallup is one of the best experience we have. Why? Because it molded us and gave us more details how to know ourselves and how we can deal with people who are mind like with us. And also with Gallup, I understand how should I do things that I can be successful, and how I do tasks where I can fully make, I mean, where I can develop my potential more. So yeah, Gallup is such an amazing thing.
Wonderful. Is there any other questions as we round out this wonderful conversation? And thank you, Nurhati, for showing us the incredible work you're doing in the Philippines. Do we have anyone else that would just like to voice in a question that hasn't written it in our chat room?
If others aren't going to jump in, I'll ask something, and this is really a more personal question for you, Hati. When you were here, I remember there was a lot of pressure on you from the former combatants who were asking you for, housing and jobs, and you were feeling a lot of pressure. What do you do for self-care? How do you make sure that you aren't overwhelmed and stressed, and you can be the best peace builder that you can be?
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Actually, I mean, everyone I think is also experiencing this same, being overwhelmed and stressed from work and from the activities that we've been doing. For me, to care and to can have more energy for the reason why I'm doing this. I keep on going back to asking myself, why did I started this 3 years ago? And to make myself better, and to take good care of myself, I make sure that my mental health is always on focus. Number one, to make it possible is to have a very good foundation at home. Alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful. I have a very, very understanding parents. I'm still single, and I'm Filipino attitude are, I'm still staying at home. That's our culture. I have a very understanding parents. I have a very supportive brothers, and I see a lot of people who are very inspiring, that are lifting me to be more. There are a lot of reasons to be more, and being overwhelmed with such pressures from the returnees or from the other stakeholders is kind of. I have a lot of more reasons to do more and to be grateful compared to be stressed, for me to be stressed. So that's one thing. And I'm you guys, seeing you here, having 14 more than 10 people who are listening to me right now, that's already a big and a very, very special motivation for me to continue more. Yeah. For that's how to take good care of ourselves. Yes,
Yeah.
Patrick.
Oh, go ahead. Do you have any other questions? Yes, and this will be recorded, Nurhati. So we'll put it on our different areas, and I'm sure there was many more people that signed up that just schedules are so busy with all these Zoom calls. So we'll have it. So many more people will hear your wonderful work. Do we have any thoughts from any final questions? I'm just blown away from when I met you. You're just such a leader, and you're doing such important work. And as someone that has studied international peace building, you are one of the best stories and one of the best projects I've ever really researched or got to know. So I'm so grateful. Anyone else?
Looks like Michael has a question.
Oh,
And Val.
Okay, so we'll let Val, since we picked on him with the Gallup, go ahead, Val, and unmute yourself, please.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say how wonderful it was to see you and hear you again. And I think you know how much I enjoyed the opportunity to get to know you while you were here. I, of course, have to say thank you for your very kind words in regards to Gallup. And I just wanted you to know how very, very proud I am of you and how grateful I am that you're doing the work that you're doing. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Val. And Michael, would you like to ask your question and verbalize it? Is that okay, Michael? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes. So I have a question, Hadi. Your neighboring Muslim countries, specifically Indonesia and Malaysia, are they involved somehow in your peace building project?
Yes, thank you, Michael, for the question. Actually, immediately after, yeah, there you go. Sorry. Actually, immediately after the YSEALI, I went into another program, which is the SEAP, or the Shape for Southeast Asian and Japanese Youth Program. It's a program for ASEAN young people and Japanese. So on board, we've undergo it's a 3-month program. We were on board Nippon Maru ship, so we traveled to the different countries through the ship. And from that program, we were discovering a lot of things, especially with the delegates. And after the program, young people, Indonesian young leaders, were inspired by my work, and we just had a collab work, specifically how I do, or how we manage violent extremism and make peaceful communities in Papua, Indonesia. So my Indonesian friends are having the same project in the same works in their communities. It was supposedly to start by by January. Unfortunately, because of this pandemic, we have to freeze everything for the preparation. And to answer the question, yes, we have, and we are looking for more solutions and for more collaborative effort just to solve and make peaceful communities, not just in ASEAN, not just in Asia, but with with the countries with the same issues. And we are also hoping that we could learn also from other countries who are having the same issues, who I believe solve the issue better, and we are still open for a lot of learnings.
Thank you, Nurhati. Do we have any final questions? Or Nurhati, do you have any questions for the audience? Do you have any questions for us? Or any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Oh yes, Laura. Well, those who are still thinking for their question to me, take time, guys. But I wanna ask people here who are involved. Number one, in a general perspective on peace building, and how do you think we could solve the conflict or any type of conflict in our communities? I mean, just perhaps some statements, some sentences from our people here, and I know I will learn a lot for sure.
Patrick, would you like to start? Would you like to?
I will make a quick thought on that, which is that I believe people-to-people connections is where it starts. And that's why I value YSEALI so much, because we have the opportunity not only for you to learn from us, but for us to learn from you and to humanize these relationships. Often I think that whether it's black-white in America or, Filipino American or whatever the divide might be, when we think of people as categories, it's a lot easier to say us and them. But when we think of people as my friend Hati or, my friend Leo or whatever, that actually is a humanizing way of resolving conflict. And I think at the root, that is really, really important.
Yes, and I would just chime in. I echo what Patrick's saying, and being from a small rural town where there wasn't a lot of people, there wasn't a lot of diversity, having the opportunity to get to travel around the world and see that we're a beautiful human family, it changed me forever. So kind of what Patrick was saying is how important these interactions are and the friendships we build. And I think it's also really important that it's okay to unlearn some things that you were taught when you were young. I've had to unlearn a lot of things and relearn things. And I think just if we can all be the student and also be the teacher when necessary, and just keep learning from one another, keep listening to one another, and to believe people when they have concerns, and to then, what you've learned with YSEALI, changing hearts by building these friendships, but then working on the policy advocacy to try to implement change at all levels of society. But I do believe it starts with heart to heart. And I think my heart is full from today's call, and I hope people were able to have that as well. And I'm just grateful for your continued friendship, and I know the rest of us that know you are grateful as well. Does anybody else want to chime in to Nurhati's very big, wonderful question? Don't be shy. We're almost done. I can call on anyone. Okay, I'll take that as I'm not going to pick on anyone. So, Nurhati, do you have any other final thoughts before we officially end our call right on time today?
Yes, thanks, Laura. I just wanna leave some statements for this based from what I've experienced and we've been doing here in the Philippines. Perhaps conflict can come from different ways and can come to different people as well. People who are experiencing conflict in the Philippines may also understand how does the conflict in the US, but we have different contexts of solving our issues. We have different ways of making positive change in our communities. Um, uh, what I just want to say is let's keep on learning and keep on exploring some possibilities. There are a lot of good people in this earth, and we can count on them anytime, I'm sure. Thank you.
Wow. If we could all, who's on the screen, just show your applause, say your appreciation to Nurhati. You can unmute yourselves. And just thank you so much, Nurhati. What a wonderful hour we've had with you. And thank you, Internet, for letting you so relieved, Nurhati. So yes. Well, thank you all. I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. And I think we've all learned so much from you because we have so much peace building to do here at home too. So thank you, Nurhati. Thank you, everyone.
Yay. Thank you, Laura. Congratulations.
Thank you. You did such a wonderful job. That was beautiful.
You guys are amazing. Thank you. God bless.
Okay. Goodbye. Talk to you soon.